Hello? Welcome to the vault. What if the life you're building isn't actually yours? What if you're living someone else's dream while your own dies quietly inside you? This is the story of a man who paid the ultimate price for approval, until one moment showed him what he'd really lost. And what he did next will challenge everything you believe about success. His name was Nathan, 34 years old, living in Manhattan. From the outside, Nathan had made it. Corporate lawyer, six-figure salary, corner office, designer suits, the apartment his parents bragged about, the career his college professors predicted, the life everyone expected. But Nathan was dying inside, slowly, quietly, in a way no one could see. He woke up every morning with a weight on his chest, dread. Not because the work was hard, but because it wasn't his. The law degree was his father's dream. The corporate path was his mother's pride. The success was everyone else's definition. Nathan had spent 15 years building a life designed to make other people proud. And in doing so, he'd abandoned himself completely. Do you know what that feels like, living someone else's script? Nathan knew it intimately. It started young. His father was a respected surgeon, his mother a university professor. Achievement wasn't encouraged in Nathan's house. It was required, expected, the currency of love. Nathan learned early that approval came through accomplishment, through meeting expectations, through becoming who they needed him to be. So he did. Perfect grades, right university, law school, corporate firm. Each step earned praise. Each achievement brought approval. And Nathan mistook that approval for love. He thought if he kept performing, kept achieving, kept living up to their vision, he'd finally feel whole. He never did. By 34, Nathan had everything he thought he wanted and nothing he actually needed. His days were filled with contracts he didn't care about, his nights with networking events that exhausted him, his weekends with obligations that felt like performances. He dated women his parents approved of, joined clubs that looked good on paper, made friends who shared his resume, but not his soul. The only thing Nathan truly loved was music. He'd played guitar since he was 12, wrote songs in college, dreamed of being a musician before his parents made it clear that wasn't a real career. So he buried it, packed his guitar away, told himself he'd outgrown childish dreams. But at night, alone in his expensive apartment, the songs still came, melodies he couldn't silence, lyrics he'd never share, a whole life unlived inside him. The breaking point came at his father's birthday dinner, expensive restaurant, extended family. His father stood to make a toast, looked directly at Nathan with pride. My son, the lawyer, everything I hoped he'd become, following in the family tradition of excellence. Everyone clapped, raised glasses, smiled at Nathan, and Nathan felt absolutely nothing, no pride, no joy, just emptiness, because his father was praising a person who didn't exist, a carefully constructed performance, a hollow achievement. That night, Nathan couldn't sleep. He sat on his apartment floor, pulled out his guitar for the first time in years, and played. The songs poured out. Years of silence breaking. And Nathan wept. Not sad tears. Grief tears. For the life he'd never lived. For the person he'd abandoned. For all the years spent earning approval from people who loved an idea of him, not the truth of him. He looked around his apartment, every piece of furniture chosen for how it looked to visitors. Every book on the shelf selected for impression, not interest. Every part of his life curated for external approval. He'd built a museum to someone else's success, and he was dying inside it. Monday morning, Nathan did something he'd never done. He called in sick. Then he spent the day writing, not contracts, songs. He wrote about the cost of approval, about living in a cage made of expectations, about the person he'd buried to become acceptable. By evening, he'd written 12 songs, rough, raw, real, more honest than anything he'd produced in 15 years of law. That night, Nathan made a decision that terrified him. He was going to leave the firm, not eventually, not after making partner, Now, he was going to pursue music, not as a hobby, as a life. He knew what it would cost: his parents' approval, his colleagues' respect, his carefully built reputation, the life everyone admired. But staying would cost more. It would cost him himself. He told his parents first. The conversation went exactly as he feared: disappointment, confusion, anger. His father called it a midlife crisis. His mother called it irresponsible. Neither asked if he was happy. Neither wondered what he actually wanted. They only saw their dream dying. Nathan felt the old pull, the urge to apologize, to explain, to convince them, to earn back their approval. But then he remembered something. He'd had their approval for 34 years, and it had nearly killed him. So he held firm. "I'm not asking permission. I'm telling you what's happening. I hope you'll support me. But if you can't, I'm doing this anyway." The silence was deafening, but Nathan felt something he hadn't felt in years: free. He gave notice at the firm. His colleagues thought he was crazy, walking away from partnership, from security, from everything they were chasing. But Nathan realized they were describing their dreams, not his. And he'd wasted enough time living for other people's dreams. The first year was brutal: financial stress, social isolation, family tension. Nathan moved to a small apartment in Brooklyn, worked part-time to pay bills, played open mics at night. His savings evaporated. His parents stopped calling. His old friends drifted away. But Nathan was alive, actually alive, for the first time in his adult life. 2 years later, Nathan's life looked nothing like success by traditional standards. Small apartment, modest income, no prestigious title, but he played music 6 nights a week, had a small following, created art that mattered to him, built relationships based on authenticity, not performance. His parents eventually came around, not to approval, but to acceptance. His mother attended one of his shows. Afterward, she said something that shocked him. "I'd never seen you look so happy. I didn't realize how much we'd taken from you." Nathan hugged her. "You gave me what you thought was best, but the best thing you can give someone is permission to be themselves. I had to give that to myself." Here's what Nathan learned, what you need to understand. Living for others' approval is the slowest form of self-destruct. You build a life that looks successful but feels empty. You earn praise for being someone you're not. You achieve goals that don't fulfill you, and slowly, the real you dies, buried under expectations, suffocated by should. The cost isn't just happiness. It's your authentic self, your real dreams, your actual life. You trade who you are for who others need you to be, and no amount of approval fills that void. But here's the truth they don't tell you. The moment you stop living for approval is the moment you start living, really living. The people who only loved your performance will leave. That's painful but necessary. And the people who love your authentic self will emerge. That's freedom. Your challenge this week: identify one thing you're doing purely for approval, one choice, one path, one performance. Ask yourself, if no one was watching, would I still choose this? If the answer is no, you've found where you're betraying yourself. You can't get your life back while you're living someone else's. Stop performing. Start being. The approval you're chasing will never satisfy, but the life you're meant to live will. If this moved you, hit like. Comment with one thing you're doing for approval that you're ready to release. Share this with someone trapped in others' expectations. Subscribe to The Vault for more truths that break you free. Remember, their approval isn't worth your life. Stop performing. Start living. What will you stop doing for approval? Tell me below. Thank you for watching. Your real life is waiting. Go claim it.